Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Lorecrimes. I should really shorten that intro segment for when we're streaming, but it's us. Hello, everyone.
I think the music's still playing.
How we doing?
I'm already getting bullied in the chat. No macho mojito, you absolute disgusting human being.
You guys have always said nice things about me. I like that. I like that.
Shout out to Louis 1945 for the $2 who says, I humbly request knowledge. Why did my dad leave?
Sheesh.
His reasons. I don't know. Can't help. I don't know.
Maybe you just got no riz. He was disappointed.
Don't riz your dad, you pervert.
No, the dad was just disappointed he had no riz.
You can't goon, you can't edge, you can't riz.
Can't edge. Yuck.
Hal's not a gooner. Wow.
If Herobrine isn't real, why did my dad die of a Herobrine overdose?
Holy. Wow.
What are we talking about today, boys?
Welcome. Before we say that, welcome back to Lorecrimes, Eli. I can see your trophies in the background. Well done, you. Looking like a custodian. Great stuff. Good to have you back.
Can you use one of those as like an Imperial Knight?
That'd be funny. Perhaps I shall.
Plasma incinerators on each arm. A gun show. Today, boys, it's another continuation, isn't it? We're almost at the end of our Great Crusade legions. Finally, Colin will escape the Great Crusade, and then
only to be plunged into the
Horus Heresy. Dropped ankle first through the Horus Heresy.
I had my one timeline episode when we first started this channel.
Started off strong. Then it went.
It'll be okay. We're gonna get to the War of the Beast eventually, and Xenos will return.
SC 615, thank you for becoming a lore criminal, and then Beastman from Sweden, thank you for the 100 sex. Funny. Just felt they needed to throw money at Eli's pecs. Thanks, bro.
Damn.
Thank you very much.
He'll start flexing later if he wants. Only if he wants to, though, brothers.
SC 615.
Oh my gosh, Crimson Glory.
Crimson Glory.
Congratulations, Eli. Thank you very much. If people donate, I'll do my posing routine. Louis McShooty, thank you for $2. Those trophies are as tall as Eli.
Oh man.
Kind of true.
615. Welcome
DJ
to
Beast, thank you very much. Colin, please review the interactive heresy list.
What is that?
Eli will flex, but Colin won't do the gritty. Yeah, so true, Jake Thornton.
I don't know how to gritty.
Maybe next year, if we make enough, we'll all join. We'll all join like Eli's training camp for. See who's the most swole at the end.
I already worked till I puked once, and worked out till I puked once. I don't want to do it again. It's not fun.
Not work out again ever.
I work out. I just don't want to work out until I puke.
I'm asthmatic, so I'll probably just be like, "Hey, how's Andy doing at the cardio?" And I'm just like unconscious on the treadmill. Like, he's fine.
Yeah. Bloody Shirt Music, thank you for the $2. Eli should be in Major Kills next calendar. Yeah. I didn't have to paint on my abs, so.
Damn.
It's all kicking off. And in the spirit of warring on terror, today we are covering 3 legions. So we're going to talk about the Ultramarines, the Death Guard, and the Thousand Sons today. But I'll be covering 2. Colin will be covering 1. But before that, I guess it's time for question of the week.
I hate this list, DJ Beast. This makes me want to puke.
What is it?
It's a list of the reading for the Horus Heresy, but it's a graph of.
It's like the spiral part. Yeah.
My favorite part is like some legions are just not on the graph because you can't. Like, there's no actual recommended order. There's no death. If I look at it up, I still have it. It's like there's no Death Guard. there's kind of an Ultramarines one, but it's all word bearers on it. Like it's just not there. There is an Imperial Fist one, surprisingly, but then yeah, they're missing most of the legions because it's tricky.
Also, before anything else, I think hey, Rarest Pepe, while we're going on, you should explain to the chat what a Macho Mojito is. You keep saying it. Go on. What is it?
Nah, he won't.
I
He
like
won't.
No, he won't.
I think to Crimson Glory, especially for the man has been a big supporter of all of us for quite a while. We appreciate you and love you.
For the blood
We
god,
love you very
bucks
much.
for the
We love all of
Lorecrimes.
you.
We love it.
True. Shout out to the World Eaters, who I do play. By the way, I do play World Eaters, and I've got my own like custom like Mark Angron, who's technically Usharan, the vampire guy, AOS.
I've been building a lot of Sisters of Battle. I mean, you can't see anything on my freaking webcam.
Nice.
I almost built the entire combat patrol during our Fireside Fantasy recording the other day, so we're balling.
I just like the idea that you've gotten so swole, the miniatures look even smaller than they used to be. It's pointless now.
I'm just staring at his shoulders. They're the boulders that are his shoulders.
I hit shoulders today, so kind of we're feeling
right.
But I believe with your return, Eli, you're also going to be talking about the question of the week from our last episode on Gotrek and Felix, right?
Yes, sir. I will
So what
pull
we
up
got?
what I got. So our question was, I don't know the exact question, but it was hashtag buddy cop, which means probably who would you like to see as buddy cops in 40K or fantasy?
This is correct.
First one's from Donkeyman USA, a classic lore criminal. He says, Thankwall and Call. Thankwall keeps messing with Call's latest and greatest tech heresies, and Call uses rats for experiments and makes Cyber Skaven, which somebody was that you, Donkeyman USA? Somebody was making that Admech Skaven, which is crazy. Meanwhile, Alpha Primus has to act as Tard Wrangler for the duo as they go compete across the galaxy, getting into trouble. It's such a funny thing.
Mike Cole's got the ability for his things to function accidentally correct. Like there's no like Skaven like whoops element to his stuff.
We have Mike the Bretonian Knight, not Bretonian, Bretonian. The Green Knight and the Lady for making us puke when Colin talks about Morathi and his Bretonian takes.
I mean,
had to have at least one Colin slander.
Colin only dislikes the Bretonia because he hates the French. So it's
who doesn't?
He didn't even say no. He's like,
incorrect.
Why would you say that?
Oh, gosh.
All jokes.
Shout
Douglas, shout out to what?
Yopexi Kiwi Piskai in the chat for just saying balls.
Get an album system, yeah.
Douglas Watson, 4234. It'd be hilarious to have Alathanar teach Conrad Kurz how to actually properly skin people. He has 5,000 years of experience of crucifying dark elves with their skin off, after all. I love the
that would
Batman.
I would like to see the war crime off on that one.
He's just there like Fred count pathetic. No, you're doing it all wrong. Just like a poor living guy, just like it hurts so much. Shush, trying to teach him something.
Do you reckon that's like the worst dinner party ever with those two? Because you're not sure if you're the meal.
I think the worst would be Conrad Kurz and Conrad von Karstein.
Yeah.
Because they're both insane people named Conrad.
I have Conrad von Karstein's model around somewhere.
They really did copy and paste that. How have I not put that together? Like they're just both psychos.
Yeah.
Conrad's a good name to be insane.
Yeah. And then we have one more. And also Tom Warren donated $5. Thank you very much. Colin hates Bretonians because he's jealous they get the elf bath water and he doesn't. So true.
Damn.
Looney McShooty, thank you for the $5. Did I put those guns away? It makes me, Colin, and Hal feel inadequate. I can't make fun of Chaos Worshipper Andy. He's perfect. He is perfect.
Andy is perfect.
Oh, you guys.
Andy's the backbone of lore crimes.
Andy is the handsomest lore criminal, and we never even see his face. But we know the truth.
We know in our hearts.
His chin, his jaw.
The last one, Gabriel Dale 1068 says Cetra and Lord Croak, if for no other reason than to collapse the universe into nothingness from their combined presence. I'm a Lord Croak fan, so I had to throw that one in there.
Two
Thank
dead
you very
daddies.
much.
We do like Croak.
And
He's
I'm gonna go get my beef and potatoes now, baby.
Okay.
Get those
Well, while you're getting the beef, if you want to submit your answers to this current question of the week, the new one is we're calling it #reasons. So because it's Great Crusade, imagine you're the Emperor or someone like him, and you have to band all of humanity together to unify Terra. What are your reasons for doing so? And bear in mind, the Emperor was a bit of a naughty boy. There was a lot of people who didn't want to be part of the Imperium, and a lot of people died. So you got to have a good reason. Okay, so #reason.
I imagine that if I was to do like my example of that question, I'd do it for people who, as I've said it before, don't lick yogurt lids, like immediate like.
Get them out of
I'm
here.
talking camps of people who like you have to walk through and make sure, like watching people eat yogurts and they don't know why they're there.
I just be like people who don't queue properly. Like, no, we've got to sort this out properly. You get at the back of the queue. You don't cut in. It's very British, but that would be my pet peeve. Like, right,
I just
see
see
a war over this.
Sorry, is it a donation here by Main Event Virgil? It says, "Is it Oi Hal? Put your moles on Instagram, not your shiny head." Can't see anything in the Peachy video. Good to see one of you doesn't have 5 thumbs. What? Oh, I think he insulted my forehead and the rest of your painting skills, boys. So, I should. I'm getting better at bottle painting, but honestly, like as much as like there's so many other people who are way better than me, so I often feel like I'm pretty bad at. Like, I don't think I have ugly looking models. I just feel like inadequate compared to the actual like community of people who paint their models, because they definitely do the I just made this last night. It's not even that good, and you're like, wow, thanks for the non-metallic metal all over the thing. Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah, but let's not be around the bush. But then you did the same thing during the stream, just like, I just
I feel like I'm intermediate though. I feel like I'm in an intermediate.
I feel like you should take a long walk off a short pier.
Genuinely, like, I do feel like I'm an intermediate, and I feel like there's a huge gap between like me and the actual god tier. Like, not even the god tier, the actual good painters.
Well, that gap exists between you and me. So yeah, careful.
Look, I understand you might not quite be as good as the gaming I won 3 golden demons storyteller, but
yeah,
still a good painter.
Thank you, Main Event Virgil, for my as I'm constantly told, my Innsmouth Riz on my big shiny forehead. As you can tell, the only reason Lorecrimes was started is because there's a group of us who have big foreheads. So, welcome. Send us a picture of your hairline, and
this is how I'm going to overtake Bricky. I don't think I'm going to beat him in subs, but by God, I will have the bigger forehead.
TJB's get off my case, brother. Thank you. With that being said, though, obviously Eli's maintaining his protein intake.
Man, that's
and some of the people in the comments are saying foul stuff about protein. I saw something earlier.
No, they're saying foul things about you.
Oh God. At least it's not on Colin for once.
Lord Cunnilingus.
Who said that?
H. Mielov. He said you're Lord Cunnilingus.
Brother, my Slavic brother in Christ. What are you doing? We're meant to stick together. Damn it. Yeah, pain. That being said, though, we're Great Crusading. We're in M30. Are we at the end of M? No, we're in M30. 999
end of M30, so it's like or 30 31st, because it's like it goes retroactively, so it starts at like 0 to 100, so it should M31.
Pass over to Colin then. Who are we talking about today, Colin? Then
we're talking about the greatest of them all, the only chapter that matter. All these other legions can go straight to hell. It's only the Ultramarines, baby.
Nope.
Yes,
White Scars are cool.
Don't care. You will never outdo my sheer blind lack of caring for
Sorry, I
space
just had
marines
a-
that aren't blue and gold.
Had a border prince say, "You say forehead, not forehead." My dad's from the north, brother. He would slap me silly if I didn't say forehead or forehead.
Forehead. No
Or,
criminal
sorry,
glory.
bottle of water.
A macho mojito
bottle
is
of
not
water.
tequila
need-
and protein powder. A macho mojito is a mojito with cum.
Sounds about right. That's on brand.
I'm
That's very on
disappointed.
brand. It's
We need Mr. Border Prince to
Well,
come on
Border
and
Prince.
talk about, so we can talk about Lord of the Rings.
Let's talk about
Middle-earth
Old World.
strategy battle game.
Old World. Old World mentioned.
Old World and
Big.
Lord of the
Big,
Rings.
huge.
Old
We've
World.
talked about that forever. Now we have to talk about stuff Colin's least favorite.
No, it's Ultramarine, so I can kind of stomach it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's Unification Wars, Great Crusade, a little bit of pre-Gilliman, then some with Gilliman. Ultramarines. It's gonna be a good time. I've spelled Rabute's name wrong the first time I spelled it in this little note sheet I have, so that's a good sign.
That's just the meme, though, isn't it? It's like Roboty Gully Man or
I
something.
didn't even do it on purpose though. Like I just put a U.
Ribbit Girl Man.
Where
Like, that's the
isn't a U.
meme.
I prefer Rowboat Guilty Spark.
Nice.
Just completely butchering it.
We have 2 donations. So I assume you guys already read the
Started.
budget talk one.
I think we. Oh no, Mr. Mealov. We didn't read that. Unfortunately, it says time to learn about my favorite legion, the Dozen Dudes, and Bloody Shirt Music. Yo, shout out to all the regulars who are here.
bless
Bringing
you.
Border Prince on, so he can teach us about anything but modern 40k.
My man.
I will say
Yes,
something about, like,
please.
if you're not as into modern 40k, remember there's a lot of 40k that did come out, and then people just don't talk about it because it wasn't that good. Eldar books, some of them.
Man, I can't even argue.
But like there's always more 40k brothers to talk about.
Look, if nothing else, you don't like modern 40k, you can find a PDF of the OG Rogue Trader book online. That's as far away from modern 40k as you can physically get.
The brother of Border Prince does say Blackgate Troll Chieftain is the king.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
I
don't know.
Baller model.
Eli's only playing Lord of the Rings Tabletop at the moment, really. So
Yeah, I play Warhammer like once a month, and then Lord of the Rings as much as I can, because it's just so much better. I also thank you to becoming a lore criminal main event Virgil. Nice.
But Ultramarines now? Yes. Except not quite, because they weren't the Ultramarines yet. You'll notice that, that's actually, before we start, I properly start, I want to say, I think the proper way to say it wouldn't be Ultramarines. It would be like Ultramarines.
Yeah,
Ultramarines. Because I know like you look and you're like, they're the Ultramarines, which, they're the best, which, correct, but that's, an opinion. It's more accurate to be like they're the people, like the soldiers of Ultramar.
Less MK Ultra, more like Ultramarines. Yeah.
Granted, saying it that way sounds kind of awkward, so just Ultramarines, but it is not supposed to just be they're the Ultraist Marines, even though they are. But at this point, they're known as the Warborn, the 13th Legions of Space Marines. Gilliman's their Primarch, but they're much like pretty much everyone else, except maybe the Alpha Legion with one of the twins. They don't have their father back yet, which is another side tangent. I always found it weird they call Primarchs their dad. I'm just going to say it. That always throws me for a loop, especially because at this point they're babies.
Yeah. I find it, do you know, the only time I ever clocked it as weird is when I think Sevatar once said uncle to Magnus the Red, and I was like,
why? I'm not a fan of that one.
Why would you say that?
As long as he didn't call Conrad daddy, it's fine. That's when you should be concerned.
Even worse, the bottom keeps being deepened.
Who's the I beg your finest pardon? I took that in a different.
I was going to say we hit rock bottom, but then we kept going deeper. But I worded it horribly. Dante, thank you for the 1,000 TLP. Ultra signature look of superiority.
For the audio listeners only, that's the Ultramarine Omega.
But at this point, they're the Warborn, and they're not quite. They're not like the the true Greco-Romans, they're going to be pretty much the moment they find Gilliman. At this point, there is still a little bit, because at this point, as the Warborn, they're largely taking from people like on Terra. Their recruits largely came from people who were nearly wiped out by the Emperor, which is a fairly Roman thing to do. They would come in, they would obliterate everything you'd ever known, and then whoever was left could be a Roman. So there, there's still a little bit of Roman roots early on, but other than that, that's kind of it. And that being said, there was no evidence of them being deployed on Terra. They weren't appeared to be, doing any of the fighting. The first records, which is the first instances I could find, had them fighting on the moon and the Sedna campaign towards the edge of the solar system. So they weren't in the opening rounds of the Great Crusade. Actually, would you guys count the Unification Wars as part of the Great Crusade?
They didn't call it
Crusade.
They didn't really call it the Great Crusade until the Emperor made like a formal declaration.
Because it was like, he was like, first we conquer Terra, then once we've like made an alliance with Mars, then we're like, right, we've got the ships, we've got the men. Off we go, lads! War crimes, ahoy! And then they went.
Yeah, so all right, a little bit of rewording. Then they weren't, they weren't in the very beginning, really, the Unification Wars, but they were, Great Crusade pops off, they leave Earth, and the Ultramarines were good, they were raring to go. Their gene seed was very remarkably stable. This is going to be another side tangent I get to, but this is again just something I wanted to talk about, not really a side tangent. Gene seed, though, no noteworthy flaws or mutations. Is it the Imperial Fist, right? They can't spit acid. Their Betcher's gland doesn't work.
Yeah, their Betcher's gland doesn't work, and there are a few other weird inconsistencies with other legions as time goes on.
Yeah,
they're also incredibly annoying, but that's just like a.
Also, I think the Imperial Fist can't go into like stasis sleep either. They can't just be like, I'm asleep for 7 years and then wake up. I think that's another thing they have.
They're too stubborn.
That sucks.
It sucks because if they get injured, they can't go into the coma thing. And
they're like meditation, healing sleep thing.
Yeah,
that's But for the Ultramarines, no gene seed or no gene seed flaws. Nothing noteworthy enough where it's like, okay, this legion has this problem. It's vanilla, totally bog standard. Except for the fact that, for whatever reason, you get this gene seed, and you're suddenly a very big fan of cohesion and hierarchy, and you want everything to be nice and ordered and properly structured. Just a little bit more Roman stuff kind of creeping in. The legions, all the nice organization.
You become a power sub.
Don't say that.
We're truly giving the wrong idea.
Although I did want to say, at what point does something like that go from feature to flaw, right? You know what I mean?
I mean, as a soldier, so if you're somewhat submissive, that's cohesive, and
well, it's not that they're turning submissive; they like cohesion.
Yeah, word.
Well, again, the big flaw with the Ultramarines with time would be that they have to do everything by the book, and that's the thing. It's like, this is how it's done. It's like, not always. No, this is how it's done, and that's kind of related to that, I suppose.
I was just wondering, at what point does it stop being just a at what point does something regularly occurring within a gene seed count as mutation? Because it did seem, the Ultramarines all start liking that kind of stuff, but it just doesn't count as mutation, right?
I mean,
that was more just not even just like a.
I think it depends on how aesthetically pleasing it is. It's like Sanguinius' wings. They're not a mutation. He's pretty. Leave him alone.
But the red thirst, that's not pretty.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, we got a donation
we have
from
a few donations, fellas.
Yep.
Gotta go back to Donkey Man USA, who said for $2. I almost want to give you your $2 back for saying this. Skin me harder, Uncle Kurz.
Yeah.
No, you. And Bikini Prime. That's a fun name. $2. Thank
Pinky
you.
Prime.
Sorry, Pinky. Power Sub Gene Seed Flaw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
SC615. Thank you for the $5.
Thank you, brother.
Vulcan and Dorn are my favorite Primarchs. Jagged Eyes up there too. What would be the best place to start reading? Also, big ups, Eli. Prep is grueling. Yes, it was. But we're
Yeah.
Don't
living
read the
again now.
Salamanders books. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
The best
Don't do it.
recommendation is not to engage with that.
The White
Vulcan
Stars
School,
books are all
don't
pretty
read
good.
their books.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Start with the book called Scars by Chris
Chris
Raitt.
Thank you, Aborder Prince, for the potent and flawless seed.
Thank you.
Joseph
So
Pollard.
Joseph Pollard donated 10. That looks like some kind of like
$10
currency from like
regular. It's the
That's on
dollar
the
sign,
right, that's
bro.
it feels like something you get in like a JRPG or something. I don't know. It's like squiggly circle thing. I'm not sure what it is.
Are we looking at the same thing?
All right,
No,
all
endless
right,
space
go,
currency.
man.
It's like an endless
It's
space
different.
currency.
It's different in the chat.
Okay. I have returned from my conquest in brackets vacation in Europe to hear cringe and see Colin's unmade bed.
I hate you.
It's pretty made. Thank you for the $10.
Colin
It's not
always
made
makes
great,
the bed.
but it is made.
He always makes the
Bed
bed.
made.
The couch chair's always ready. He always makes the post for the YouTube video.
Why have I not made a
Ultramarines.
post?
I'm going back to the Marines, damn it. I never thought I'd want to, but we're
Gonna go
going
make a
away from
post, I
that
guess.
towards Space Marines.
BRB.
Alrighty. It's Smurfs. Much like keep the Roman a little bit, they bolster their strength from conquered worlds. So all right, hey, you're part of the Imperium now. You're coming with us to fight. You're a legionnaire now. So that would help them get a bit stronger. Although something makes them stand out a bit from how they were. Although when they meet with some moments with Gillivan, you'll find out maybe that is kind of in character for the Ultramarines. They tend to be very aggressive. Not world eaters, berserk fury. You deploy them to the planet you never want to see ever again. They, there would be a world left after the warborn were done with it, but they were very aggressive, disciplined, determined, but they wouldn't pull punches. It did help them, any cooperative campaigns they might have been part of with other Space Marine legions. It helped them out with that. They were, especially with the tendency towards hierarchy and cohesion, they were a good legion to get along with.
Yeah, occasionally there was just, this world's being a bit difficult. Ultramarine used glare. You're too paralyzed to move. And that was just how they did it.
We have some good call and comments in the chat. Also,
all right.
DJ Beast donated $2. Thank you, DJ Beast. Fix blanket and move that pillow, Balden. Thank you. Very good.
Very clever.
Get him.
H. Mielhoff
his
says
ass.
Colin sits on the cuck chair while painting his power bottoms. And then Glacier Music, Colin sits on the cuck chair painting models of him sitting on the cuck chair. Oh my gosh.
We're going to buy
The
chairs.
cuck chair is
Brutal.
really
Let
funny.
him talk about
I
Ultramarines.
love
He's
war
enjoying
crimes.
himself.
I love war crimes. I love
Leave
war
him be.
crimes. They were a very practical legion, all things considered. They were still at this point they were willing to do what works. They were very aggressive with it, but they'd listen at least. They'll try what works, stuff like that. At one point they were defeated against. Okay, fucking control delete on that thought. Holy shit. They were waging a war against some rebels assisted by unknown Xenos that were rather psychic in nature. There was some weird soul-stealing stuff going on. It was not the Rangden, but it vaguely reminds me of them because they would use people as thralls kind of deal.
Oh, the Crave?
This was the Osirian Cybirds.
Another Xenos to be said in the Great Crusade and never heard of it
yes
yet.
And it's annoying because they sound so cool because it's their ships are described. I don't know, Eli, I have an image of some ship with endless space. Maybe you vaguely, I don't know anything about it, just an image in my head because the ships they're described as hourglass shaped with rotating segments to them. It's like a cross between something from Endless Space that I cannot remember.
Riftborn or Sophons or something.
Maybe probably one of those. And also, Andy, I'm thinking the relays from Mass Effect 2, how they've got those spinning bits.
Yeah, the revolving bit that propels them into space. Yeah.
I'm picturing their ships something like some cross image of those things in my head. and they sound very cool, but we'll never know about them because they exist to give you Horus Heresy fodder.
It's just like we made a ship and we put a lava lamp in the middle. It's like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, why not? Looks cool.
But this got a donation, by the way, from main event Virgil again.
Thank you,
Colin, you're not alone. I never make my bed, but I'm also a massive hypocrite. Join the army just so you can learn how to make a bed. You can quit after.
Unfortunately, I can't. I did actually want to join the Navy as a kid, but they don't let diabetics do it. I also wanted to be an astronaut, but same outcome there.
The insulin delivery in space.
If I predict the draft coming, and I just start, I just load myself with sugar for like 3 months straight, and become type 2 diabetes.
Or
See,
you can get really.
You can theoretically get rid of that, so I think they might tell you no.
Or you can get really heavily tattooed, and then they won't take you either. At least in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah. I did the application to like just out of curiosity if they take me in the reserves, and they're like, "How big's the back piece?" I'm like, "Nah, no."
It's reserves. What?
Yeah, even the reserves, they're like, "Nah, we're not having you, Yakuza looking motherfucker." Get
I think if World War III breaks out, they're probably gonna lessen that.
Yeah.
But the warborn, still called that. They were defeated, and they got filled with a lot of shame and a little bit of bloodlust for combat. And they decided that until they're reunited with their Primarch, no glories. They're not taking any honors. They lost. They do not earn them yet. They need to find their gene father before they're going to be whole again. They gotta they're not going to accept any trophies or medals until that happens. And rather interestingly is that they actually knew where Guilliman was 2 years before all this business happened, but warp storms were kind of not ruining, but affecting travel to where Guilliman was, which I imagine has to be especially frustrating. You're like, he's right there. We can see him. We know he's there.
Also, this is when they found him and they knew he was on.
Yeah, they knew he was on like Macragge, and they knew where. It's just the warp storms. You can go to them if you want to die.
It's like you're picking your kids up from school, and there's like a really heavy bit of rainfall going on. You can see them in the classroom waiting to go home, and you're just looking at them through the glasses going like, it's rain, it's really heavy rain. I haven't brought my coat. I can't. No, sorry.
Just leave them at school and don't come back.
Yeah,
and then
they
need milk and cigarettes.
Exactly.
Been back in army recruiting ads. It's
so yeah.
Man, there's a funny comment.
Yeah,
it is so over, bro.
Hasty white guys everywhere.
We're going to war.
When they stop worrying about like optics and they're worrying about like, okay, how we get the most amount of something, then it's like, okay, they're deadly serious. Yeah.
A clean-shaven white guy just delivered my Uber Eats. Sell everything. Everything's down. It's over.
God, companies have no shame. Sometimes they'll just straight.
They'll
just.
Was it a company?
I think of like Nestle. Nestle's like, oh yeah, they look so nice. Right. Like, yeah, we'll straight up like we'll put people, of every origin in adverts, and then we'll straight up like poison their water sources across the world.
As the old saying goes, you can't spell company without cum.
Thank you, Andy.
Officially talk about Guilliman now.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
It's while this was happening, Guilliman's doing his thing on Ultramar, being the only Primarch with a real family that isn't nightmarish in some way. His dad does get Caesared, but that's okay. His mom's still kicking, and Guilliman gets proper vengeance for his father without killing the man who killed his adopted father, Conrad Guilliman, although the Macraggian Senate did throw him off a cliff, so
Is it the Illyrians? Is there was there an equivalent of the Illyrians in Rome as well?
Yeah, they're called the Illyrians.
Yeah, I feel like there was like an actual.
It's just the region that is like that area, part of the Balkans, like next to Italy, is just it's called Illyria.
Yeah, because the Illyrians, even to the modern 40k, the Illyrian sector on their capital city of Macragge still hates the Ultramarines and Guilliman. They're always trying to appease them, but they never quite. You know, they're like they're just successionists, even to even in 30k to 40k.
It's not perfect, but Rome wasn't perfect either. It was good enough. And around this point, Guilliman starts expanding Macragge. It becomes, proper bit spaceborne empire, integrating worlds into itself. They're reunited with the Emperor, Guilliman and everyone else. And, Macragge is promptly, or Ultramar more at this point, is properly integrated into the Imperium with relatively little fanfare, all things considered. And Big E gets 500 free worlds, and Guilliman gets a Space Marine Legion. Yeah. Renamed the Ultramarines now. They're here they are. That's kind of like I was saying earlier. It's best translated as People of Ultramar. And I think, if I remember correctly, Ultramar in Portuguese means like far sea or something like that. I can't. There was like a translation I saw. It was forever ago. I can't remember, but it's
wacky.
I guess maybe that's where Ultramarine comes from, for like bluey.
It might, honestly. It's a sea color maybe. Plus, it fits if my vague remembering of what the translation is right. Ultramar is probably the easternmost major Space Marine hub, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty far out there. Yeah, and they're always getting into several wars because for leave us alone.
Stop it.
I think well, no, they're in what's the main? They're not in the eastern fringe.
Segmentum. It's east, southeast. It's bottom right.
Oh, it's they're in the big. They're in the largest segmentum in the middle, but
yeah,
they're the east of Terra, or in terms of if east even is irrelevant as a direction in terms of the galaxy, but on the map they're
galactic east. Yeah, they're in Segmentum Ultima.
That's it. Yeah, the big one,
the real big one,
where the big boys are.
The one that's half the galaxy.
Yeah, the fat the fat uncle of all.
Gotta say, real bad organization on Big E's part, or whoever put that map together. Could have split that one up a little bit.
Should do it in fours. I mean, why not? One like a cake, or the. I don't know.
Therefore, I am. Thank you, DJ Beast.
God.
Bloody Shirt Music. Thank you for the $2.
Thank you, brother.
Ultramar, as of late, has a termite problem. Does
the only bug is a dead bug.
The Gene Stealers.
I think they're just general Tyranids.
They've had a few goes at Macragge.
Yeah.
Haven't got it yet.
Still doing it, baby.
But Guilliman's back. Well, I guess not quite back, but they got Guilliman now. They got Grandpa Smurf, and the Ultramarines would then go on to just be the best ever in the Great Crusade, with the highest amount of planets brought to compliance.
Even more than the Dark Angels and Sons of Horus.
It's pretty great because Guilliman.
Yep.
His part, what he learned on Macragge as part of his formative years was, diplomacy's worth it more often than not, probably. Oh, God, what did you read? What did they say?
Oh, that's funny.
What?
I have to remember how to do this. How to put this on Imager or whatever.
While you're doing that, I'll just keep talking.
Memes have been sent to us for the audio listeners.
But yeah, in Guilliman and the Ultramarines pretty usually left worlds in a better state than when they found it. They made sure the planet has a PDF, it has basic infrastructure, it can be a swift and effectively integrated into the Imperium proper, more than just we now own this on a map. The colored crayon paradox map expansion game of the Imperium at this point. We actually own it and can use it. It's not just a war-torn hellscape they're inheriting, whatever I completely forgot the name of the Iron Warriors for a second. It's not like when they conquer a world or the World Eaters, and it's well, we own this barren rock now. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Pyrrhic victories every time.
Yeah, Pyrrhic victories are a victory that doesn't even mean anything because there's nothing to own.
So the good thing to say about the Ultramarines as well, like, their particular strength is not the fact that they're like physically stronger or have better guns than any other legion. It's the fact that their delegation is particularly like Guilliman. Their legion size is huge, isn't it? But like particularly like their strength is the fact that each commander, in a weird way, is like their own mini Primarch in some.
Yeah, there's like 4 tetrarchs which rule like I guess it would be 60 worlds apiece because there's like it's 500 worlds, so that's 250. So that's like each tetrarch rules like 125 planets each. And they're like his lieutenants, and like Dark Angels were straight out the gate and they had all the deadliest guns. Sons of Horus benefited from having a Primarch really early on, like the first returned Primarch, other than Alpharis, who doesn't count. But then Guilliman is just like, I'm rich. Look at all my planets. What are you going to do?
I think the Ultramarines are soldiers, whereas a lot of the other ones were just conquerors.
They're soldiers, and the other Space Marines are warriors. If that makes sense.
That's how I see it too. Angry Homunculus, thank you for the $5 European dollars. Listen, as a Pakistani dude, you should not trust the British to draw maps.
My dude is so correct.
Fair enough.
Yeah, low key, kind of our fault. Low key.
But we broke up the Legion, but not really. To be fair to the Ultramarines, it's like every loyalist Legion that they could help it. The Imperial Fists have the Last Wall. The Dark Angels have the Unforgiven. Everyone who could found a way around that.
Even Guilliman, he was just like, oh, I'm going to have a sneaky 11th company called the Sires of the Emperor. Don't worry about them. It's fine. Like, they're going to find out. Oh, make them a chapter. Ignore that. It's fine.
A sneaky extra chapter known as the Genesis chapter.
Yeah, buddy.
As well.
The Ultramarines at home.
Arco-flagellate.
HBO, as a Bulgarian, you shouldn't trust the Brits with Yugoslavian planes.
Thank you.
Damn. Really bad at drawing, aren't we?
Guilliman, he leads the Ultramarines to be the bestest ever. I don't care about my bias. You will accept it.
He right. You right. Matt Ward for life.
Dude, Matt Ward was just unironically
right
about everything. Bring him back.
I miss him so much.
Let him write for the.
I didn't appreciate him for what he was.
we didn't know what we lost. It was gone.
He wrote an Eldar book.
Dude, please write an Eldar book so we can give them. He can have them fight the entire Imperium and win.
Okay, 3 donations. Thank you guys. Thanks. Blazer Music, $2. You shouldn't trust the British to cook food. Extremely true. I went to a pub the other day here that was British themed food. I paid like $24.
Oh no! I mean,
one sausage and some mashed potatoes.
Yeah, but there's places in America that say they're Irish bars, and it's like
no, but it's like actual.
I'm Italian.
Food.
You're definitely not Italian.
It's not like it was.
Do you know where the meme comes from?
It's not hard to make British food.
The meme comes from the fact that wasn't it Americans during World War II came over and they were eating the British rations, the soldiers, and it tasted terrible. That's
but also they had to keep stopping because the Brits kept going, we need a tea break. We need to. It's like, we're advancing on that position. They were like, no, we have our tea breaks. We have to have our tea breaks. And they would literally stop fighting to have their breaks and sip their tea. It's like, fucking Brits.
My man had a roast dinner, Yorkshire pudding burrito.
That sounds nice. When I can help it, I only eat at Asian food places because they're the only things that are good value. Every Western restaurant is overpriced, and you don't get enough, and you can make it at home anyways. I got so heated at this pub. I spent $45 because I got 2 things.
DJ Beast is not Indian.
I was still hungry.
Yes.
DJ Beast as an Indian does not trust the British. I swear he said he was from somewhere else before.
I just thought he was Arabic.
Typical Brit trying to rewrite history again.
As an American, you shouldn't trust Bowen to make plays. Trust me,
brother. You get on a 737 and you are gambling.
I'm getting on a plane in September. It's scary.
Oh dear.
What we say about Ultramarines?
Right, Ultramarine. With Guilliman, he's back. They got vengeance for the defeat against those Osirian sidebirds, however you say it. at the Battle of the Yuri Dice Terminal, which I only wrote down the name of it because that sounds kind of cool. Gilliman personally killed their leader, while his chief battle psyker sacrificed himself so it could be done. And the Ultramarines, their shame's been erased. They're back on top form, baby. They're ready to go and get the highest amount of compliances. They're great. They're not, they weren't entirely squeaky clean, right? Being, as biased towards Gilliman as I am, I'm going to qualify this. But when I say they made worlds better than they found them, a lot of times that meant better from like a governmental perspective, and like, oh yeah, the taxes and everything going to be arriving perfectly on time. Very efficient source of soldiers. There's still rampant slavery and corruption on this planet.
It's Gilliman saying we're going to make the world better, or else.
Thank you, Crimson Glory, for the $5. As an American, don't trust the British. Period. Damn.
Waffle
biased source. As a British colony is biased.
Listen, okay. America's trying to get in on the French versus UK beef. We don't have beef like that with you guys, okay?
We got in on that beef pretty early.
Like, you were a small part of the beef.
That was the first thing we did as a new nation was invite the French to beat the
You're not welcome in this relationship.
The rebellious stepchild rebelling against the parents, going,
we're a couple, not a throuple, okay?
Shane, bro.
And say, I foresaw this, Thank you, Shane.
It's funny.
Thank you, Donkey Man USA. He says, Waffle House not only always has quality food, it's always cheaper than the surrounding restaurants.
Yeah, it's because you're risking getting the shit kicked out of you if you step foot in a Waffle House.
I've never been to one, but maybe next time I'm in America, I'll check it out.
I'm more of a Denny's guy.
Holy frick, I love Denny's. I just looked up the other day, and our local Denny's here is open 24 hours again.
Oh, baby.
I'm heading there 2 a.m. with the boys. It's happening. We're so back.
Shane Bro,
5 guys down the road. I'm like, ooh.
We said that.
Shane Bro for $5 says, diviners will let a natural disaster unfold without intervention and then say, I foresaw this, True.
Average Eldrad Ulthwan interaction.
Look, he's
good one aboard, Prince.
Isander and Coda put it best. When the plot needs him to be powerful, he's a god. When it needs him to be stupid, he is.
I'm going to goon for 36 hours straight.
As you will.
You're all right there.
What was it? Ultramarine. Yeah. The taxes were efficient, but Gilliman also had dominion over Nuceria, Engron's homeworld. Did not make it a nicer place to live at all. It was still slavery rampant shithole. Which, again, I said I would give you some cope for Gilliman. I choose to believe that was because the Emperor was like, you're on a timetable. You need these worlds conquered now. No time for breaks. I'd like to believe if Gilliman was allowed to, he would have made them, better like that. Because, he turned McCrog into a pretty good place to live. But, Big E was like, hey, you don't want to be late. You're not going to like what happens if you're conquering too slowly. And we'll get to it soon enough. Gilliman had a hand in showcasing personally what happens when you're conquering a bit too slowly coming up soon. So it's a little bit of Gilliman cope, but I choose to believe it's not his fault.
He didn't really want to humble Lorga. He was just like, I'm kind of doing the best out of everyone, or I get dragged into everything. I'm best, favorite child. Oh, look at me. Oh,
I'm being directly asked to by the Emperor. Yeah. I can't really say no.
We have a Crimson Glory donation. Thank you for the $10, Mr. Crimson Glory. The UK and French are little brothers fighting. America's dad getting home after a long day of work. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. America sees like I'm watching your politics at the moment, and I'm like, are we the ones who are like who's having problems? I don't know.
It's fricked everywhere. Who are we
kidding? There's a little bit.
Oh man, that picture goes so hard though. I don't think any of us can deny it.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
The freaking.
Yeah. Where was it? at some point, some other problems they had. Gilliman was, he was happy to integrate new tactics into the Legion. The Ultramarines all were, but you usually had to beat it into their heads first. Like, what was it? It was Corvus, right? Like they were doing war games. Like he got the upper hand on him once with some like stealth hit and run tactics. And after that, Gilliman was like, okay, I will now integrate this, make it as efficient as I can. And Corvus is like, well, I don't think I'm ever beating him again. I can get close calls and win some battles, but the wars are never going to be won. This is but
not a lot of ingenuity, more like it's the old reliable.
He'll refine anything you give him to the finest point, but you need to give it to him first.
Yeah, he has to see someone else do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he also loved the Morotarts from the Raven Guard, which were like the Suicide Squad, like dual wielding gun. Like they were like the guys. Oh, they're gonna die. We'll just put them in the front line. They're just gonna jump in and do some damage. And he went, I like this, and he started to incorporate them in his Legion because he saw them doing it and went, oh, that's good. That has tactical use. I'm having that.
It's kind of like the British, where like we saw something else and we liked it, so we took it.
Classic.
Apart from the steam engine, which we invented.
Yeah. It's so that was he was a little bit arrogant. Again, he'd be like, "Oh, yes, I'm sure your way of doing things is perfectly good." He had this idea of, well, you'll see the Ultramarines fight, and you'll truly be amazed that this is the best way to do it. It was. In some fairness, it was a show don't tell thing. He'd be like, "You'll see us fight, and you'll fall to your knees and accept that the Ultras are the best, and you'll want to do it how we do it." Which, to be fair, highest amount of compliances, but it rubbed some of his brothers the wrong way. I know Lehman wasn't the biggest fan of him. Didn't Ferris Manus hate him?
No, he's on the Dauntless Few, wasn't he?
Well, Gilliman liked Ferris.
Yeah, Gilliman liked Ferris, and he liked Lehman.
And he liked Lehman.
But it wasn't mutual. Like Ferris was like, oh, he's just a rich kid who's got all these planets. If I had that much stuff, I'd do better. He was like, oh, he didn't like how Gilliman basically played on easy mode in his opinion. He's like, oh.
He was somewhat insecure around Gilliman at times as well. Like, there's his own Primarch novel is basically the fact like he realizes Gilliman is like on the grander scale a better Primarch and he's a better Legion than he is in terms of like how it interacts with the Imperium. And so Ferris Manus tries for one book to do diplomacy like Gilliman, but he doesn't have Gilliman's skill. And then he dies. Nor do his sons.
We also have 3 donations, fellas. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me scroll up here. Beastman from Sweden. Thank you for the 50 sec. As a Scandinavian, just want to say we turned British home invasion into a sport. We even showed off our trophies when we got home. Nice. Joseph Pollard, thank you for the $5. The more ghetto the Waffle House, the better. There was a fight at my local where the cook hop in. Nice. Most banging food ever. Is Waffle House just like pretty much Denny's? Call them?
Isn't it IHOP or something?
It's Denny's, but like for some reason it's like a PvP enabled zone.
It's like Super Smash Brothers Melee, but also a restaurant. Yeah.
Oh, I really before we go to the in-laws next week, I gotta get a 2 a.m. Denny's trip. Finding out that Denny's is open past 12 a.m. again is like an insane. It's just oh my gosh. Though they put actual meth in those pancakes too. I'm getting the cinnamon bun pancake with my all-American slam.
Hell yeah. You get
Anyways,
the Grand Slam. You'll be
Stealthy 47 changed your profile pic. $2. Thank you very much. But can Gilliman beat Balthazar Gelt?
No, sir.
Certainly not. He's turned to gold the moment he looks at him.
What's that video where like they're having like the it's like the metal bands, like, and it's like something at Denny, and then people just having a mini mosh pit. Oh, it's a classic video. Classic.
Gelt's turning Ultramar into a lead statue.
Oh man, we should.
Smiling.
There's a concept there, something like how I don't know if this could be a video or something like 40k versions of fantasy characters, like scale their power up to be in 40k. That could be interesting.
You don't even need to do it with Gelt.
Yeah, I know.
The Lord of Metal has a skill where he touches something made of metal and knows everything about it and how to make it. Gelt touches a Necron and he's unstoppable.
Damn.
Epic.
He just like stares Perturabo in the eyes and goes, "Bitch."
Chat, let
That's
me
what
know
he
if it's a
does.
good idea.
Let's do it. Come on, Birdie.
Brian F. Denny's is not trash.
Oh,
Denny's is
beloved.
But it is trash, but it's not trash.
Yeah, it's trash anytime before midnight.
Oh yeah, but if you go after midnight, it's heaven.
It's so good. Oh my gosh.
But Ultramarine, almost done.
We're trying to get through it. We're talking about
we're going.
breakfast
I
and
just want to talk
Denny's
about
and
Denny's, bro. I love it.
country
It's
beef.
so good.
This
My
hasn't been the
buddy
first
ordered
time
a-
we've gone on a breakfast tangent. Come on.
My buddy
Savage
ordered a
everything.
blue steak at Denny's. Can you believe that?
What's wrong with it?
Like,
A
yeah,
what?
it was actually good too. I couldn't believe it. That just sounds like asking for food poisoning to me. But
Speaking of blue things, the Ultramarines
Yeah, sorry.
That's
I'm having fun building my freaking penitent engine over here.
It is at some point the Ultramarines got a bit of a boost in Marines when the two Space Marine legions who did a big no-no had their Primarchs expunged, gone.
What legions are you talking about, Colin? There were only ever 18 legions and 18 Primarchs.
That's right.
The hypothetical, purely hypothetical second and 11th legions that definitely never existed. Ignore the fact that the numbers 2 and 11 were just skipped right over.
Nope.
These theoretical Marines theoretically became part of the Ultramarines, or at least most of them did, theoretically. And
practically, though.
Practically, theoretically.
Theoretical. This happened. Practical. Shut up.
Shut up about it.
Shut up. We're going to send someone to kill us. Shut up.
And theoretically, Gilliman himself had a hand in the memories being erased of the event. Him and Dorn were, I believe, the two most involved in this.
Interesting.
So there's some black marks. And then the worst sin, I'll say it, the burning of Monarchia. Gilliman, why'd you do that, bud?
Calth was an act of self-defense.
Okay, also incorrect. Lorgar's shining city. There's hair in my mouth. Beautiful place. Worship of the Emperor all over. Ultramarines burned it to the ground. To be fair, they did evacuate everyone who would listen to them first.
Yeah.
You're like,
there was even like wasn't there like even a bit in one of the stories where like there's an Ultramarine standing next to like an old Ultramarine. She's like, I live here. And he's like, please leave. Just go. Please. Please. We don't want to do this, but we will we're getting the bolters. They are coming here. Like, go away. Go away.
We're going to blow up this city. The ships are in orbit. Please leave. We don't want to blow you up with it. Which is, the nicest you can make razing a city to the ground. But thousands upon thousands still died. Monarchia is past tense after this. And the Emperor forced Lorgar and his whole legion to kneel before him and Gilliman, which, Gilliman, for his part, didn't question it. But, he talked to some of his officers he was close to, like, I don't think I did the right thing. This did not feel good. This, so with that, once that's done, Gilliman is a little shaken by it, but in terms of, performing his duty, he kept going about the Great Crusade. Did feel bad about Lorgar, wanted to somehow make, reparations, come a little bit closer with his brother again, which is why, wasn't it 80 years later? Wasn't Monarchia 80 years or something before the Horus Heresy started?
It was a while.
It was
at least over 50.
It was a good few decades.
Was it 20 years that the word bearers were sneakily just being like, don't
50
tell anyone.
years.
We're following
50
years.
years.
We're following chaos. Don't tell anyone. Shh, shh, shh.
Yeah.
Oh, more chaos.
So during that time, Gilliman kept at it, adding worlds diplomatically, sometimes not so diplomatically. Ultramarines performing their duty as well as anyone else. When Gilliman, and this will be kind of the ending point because it's about to get into the Horus Heresy, as certain things are happening across the galaxy. Gilliman, he doesn't know Lorgar's involved yet, So Gilliman invites Lorgar on the cusp of the Horus Heresy to help them cleanse some orcs from a world. He's like, you know what? This will be a good brotherly bonding exercise.
He's just like, we're gonna kill someone. You love killing orcs. We all love killing. Come on, it's
It's the
fun.
equivalent of going fishing.
Which,
Yeah.
You know, at this point in the Imperium's history, that's about as brotherly something you can do between the legions. Like, there's no humans. Lorgar doesn't need to worry about converting them. Gilliman doesn't need to worry about casualties. They're orcs.
I've got to admit, it would be exceptional if I went fishing and one time I caught something and I pulled it out and it just started going, wow! I'd be like, this is amazing. Scary.
I love the idea of like they're thinking like we should hang out and like bond, and they're like, yeah, what do you think? We should do something different. And then like there's a long pause. They're like,
Denny's?
Want to go crusading again? Like, there's nothing else to do.
We also have a donation up here, fellas. Main event Virgil again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Genuine question: would you ever do streams where you're just chilling and talking more casually? Feeling bad for Colin having to power through this.
We are very much. Yeah,
this is
not allowed. There's been a lot of donations this one, so it's quite distracting.
I think our Wednesday streams are kind of like that. But we're gonna do more. We'll probably have something like that one of these days, I'm sure.
A border prince opens strong with Lorgar got what he deserved, and then followed it up with I would be on Erebus's side.
All right, good man.
What a rapid, like one of those metronomes back and forth.
Lorgar has one fan. It's me.
I hope he dies. As the Great Crusade is now coming to a close and the heresy begins, unfortunately for Gilliman, he was not aware that by this point Lorgar had fully switched sides, and he revealed it with the betrayal at Calth.
He drank the ruinous Kool-Aid.
Deserved.
A whole lot of Smurfs died.
Yeah.
Should we? And how about we'll stop it there for the Smurfs, because that's this is the heresy. We can this is kind of where the Ultramarines start their heresy, getting gut punched by Lorgar as kids.
Losing like 100,000 men and still being like, we still got loads. Like, what?
We're still the largest legion.
Called in ambulance, but not for me.
And, that's where we learn that the warborn were always angry, because Gilliman himself has a bit of a temper, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
I do think, just finishing on Ultramarine, they do have some. Is it called they had to have a subsect within them? I don't know if they're still called the Warborn, but like they have a grouping that are filled with, like the more I don't know how to say that, more warlike versions of them. Like Gilliman divided the Legion into ways in which those of the same temperament were together.
Yeah, they did have the Nemesis Company, which became the Nemesis chapter, and then they had things like the Aurorans, who they fought during Calf, and they were known as the civilians saw them, and there was like an aurora in the sky, and they were like, "That's some cool imagery." I'm writing that down, and they had like some bespoke ones where they're like, "These are the psychopaths. We'll put them together. These guys are really bad at social gatherings. We'll put them in a company," and they did like go on to usually make their own chapter.
Yeah, so you can be cohesive as long as you're surrounded by like-minded individuals. So,
I mean, every legion kind of did that, like the Imperial Fist. All the ones who were just
martial
fuck ass mad joined the Black Templars,
and
the Templar,
and with the introduction of 2nd and 11th Legion, I have the idea of like Gilliman being like, "Hello there, son. What's your name?" And he's like, "You're not one of mine. But you're in a different company."
If the name doesn't sound Greco-Roman, you get put in another company.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your name, Steve? You are in the 112th company.
My name is Stevenius. You're not following anyone. Get out of here.
Leave.
That company.
C47 says, "Put all the Primarchs in Waffle House. What happened?"
They're getting the shit kicked out of them by a line cook.
Guy who will literally, his 2 feet will leave the floor and he will fly over the front desk. Immediately clobber them.
Cato Sicaria stomping that towel. Funniest moment, bro.
Good moment.
You wouldn't hurt a defenseless diplomat, would you? Yes.
Yes, I would, baby.
That would just happen every night in the Waffle House.
Stomp.
That was the 13th Legion, though. Andy, who's our next boys?
Okay, so we're already an hour of the way through, so I don't think we'll be here too long with the next two. Unlike the Ultramarines, there's like I think it's a bit more straightforward in a lot of ways, but the 14th Legion are the guys who would one day be known as the Death Guard, but during the Unification Wars, they were known as the Dusk Raiders of Terror, and they were recruited from the old war clans of Albia. So basically, Terran Death Guard were Brits, basically. British. You go out to a Death Guard, it's like, excuse me, I'm ready. I was like, you want a bottle of water? That's how they talk.
Bottle of water.
They also took a lot of Albion recruits for use in the Night Lords and the Iron Warriors, but that was before the Night Lords were cringe and they were full of Nostramans, so we're not copping to that. And all the cool members who were Terran in the Iron Hands died at Istvan 5, so
Shout
no
out to
more
my
Brits.
pasty boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
You could have made a dental hygiene thing. Oh well, dental. I got all right, Chief. It's fine. They were known, but the aspirants of Old Albia were really well known as the inventors of the proto dreadnoughts, known as Ironside soldiers. So we can thank them for dreadnoughts, basically. And the Emperor highly valued their courage and tenacity in battle. And during the Unification Wars, he was fighting the warlords of Albia who'd killed, I think it's the something king. It's like the not the nameless king, that's Dark Souls, but a something king that was like a big tyrant. They usurped him, and then the Emperor's fighting these guys, and he goes, you know what? This is a lot of work. I'm going to try peace. So he basically said, hey guys, you're really annoying to fight because you're always just like meat grinding against my Thunder Legion, and that's really bad for me. How about I go, and he goes to their parliament. He goes to their parliamentary walk. He goes to the Tower of London, and he goes, "All right, guys, you're really annoying, but I'm going to do this thing called the Great Crusade. It's going to be really neat. If you join me, we'll split like the winnings." And they went, "All right." And so they joined. They just joined from there.
Fucking good thing they weren't fighting the nameless king. Jag and I wouldn't have gotten a chance to kill Mortarion.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so even at this point, the 14th Legion were characterized as heavy infantry specialists. They were really disciplined, very stoic. And even the Iron Hands Primarch Ferrus Manus said, if ever I was to fight one of the other legions, I don't want to fight the Death Guard. He was just like, at this point, the Dusk Raiders, he was like, they're just so annoying because you could just shoot them and they don't fall back and they just take it on the chin. They're like, didn't feel it. It's like, your face is missing. It's like, no, I'm fine. And they won't fall back. They just stay.
'Tis but a flesh wound.
Yeah, they are the Black Knight from Monty Python saying, your arm's missing. No, it isn't. That's the Dusk Raiders. They were unwilling to ever surrender territory when they were deployed into defensive positions. They wore unadorned grey armor without any adornments, apart from they like to paint their right arm plating like dried blood red. Because they were known as the red right hand of the Emperor. And they also had a tendency to attack just as night was setting in. So as defenders during Unification Wars were going to beddy buys, you got their little plushies. And, oh, night, barbarian. I don't know, barbarian. Good night, Krug. Good night. And then all of a sudden you just hear like footsteps. Say, what is that? And you look on the horizon and the Dusk Raiders are just stomping forward. Because they weren't Barbaran yet, they were actually very honorable. If you surrendered, they wouldn't shoot you in the face. They'd be like, oh, actually, surrender. It's pretty neat. I don't have to waste ammunition. Go for it, mate. That British manners coming in, they always abided by cues. They were always polite.
This is not the English Civil War in a bad way.
But they did hate mutations. They did have psychers at this point, but they didn't like mutants. They were like, yeah, icky. Yeah, kill them. So they also had pretty good gene seed. They were very, as Sons of Mortarion, they were very good at resisting poisons and mutations because their bodies were adapted to be like, cringe. They just repelled it. So for 8 decades, the Dusk Raiders are waging war during the Great Crusade after the Unification Wars. And they're eventually reunited with Mortarion on the planet of Barbarous. And this is one of those occasions where having a Primarch for your Legion wasn't a good thing. Guilliman, as the previous example, They went, oh, warborn. Oh, these guys are pretty cool. I know where to use them. By the way, lads, I've got 500 planets under like my control. I have an empire within an empire. Mine's bigger than Dawn's, but it's smaller than Dad's. So you're like, okay, he's got a good amount of,
That's a
his
hell of a
empire's
sentence.
he's got a pretty big empire, if you know what I mean. And he's not shy about showing it off. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing with Gilliman. Rogel Dawn, again, he had an empire. Very good. Dad, look at my massive spaceship. It's this big. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Phalanx, very big spaceship.
Yeah, phalanx. Similar to the word phallus. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway.
Rogel Dawn's got a hog confirmed.
Yeah, he's got a hog, and he calls it the wall. Anyway.
Nice.
You will not get past the wall. Anyway, so basically, when the Dusk Raiders met Mortarion, it wasn't a very happy occasion. Like, anyone who meets their Primarch has an okay time, unless you're the World Eaters, where it's like, hi, Dad, and he just flings you around the room. You're like, why? But Mortarion, they were like, he's this lanky, tall, kind of morose. He's a bit weirdo.
Stinks, man.
He stinks even now, and he's kind of depressing. It's like, oh, Dad, what are you known for? And he's like, oh, I was Rapunzeled in a tower for my childhood, and then I lived on a stinky poison planet, and I had to fight zombies, and I have daddy issues. Like, great. So the Death Guard are now formed, named after the company that Mortarion used to liberate Barbarous, which he didn't. He did a half job. He didn't kill his dad. Rookie skill issue. You're not a true emancipation homeworld if you don't kill your dad. That's just basic. Emperor did it. Loads of people did it. It's in. I mean, Jagatai didn't do it as his dad, but he did it as the guy who killed his dad, so it's better. But anyway, the point is, Death Guard are now a thing. And they're basically saying Terrans are cringe, all this honor, all this stoicism. That's rubbish. Let's just recruit only from Barbarous, and we'll start to do things a bit differently. Like, because Mortarion's whole thing was, I'm going to emancipate the galaxy, and if you don't agree that I'm freeing you, I'm going to cut your head off with my big war scythe, because obviously you're the tyrant. So at this point, the Terrans start to die out as war wages on. There's more Barbarans. They're starting to the pendulum swing. The balance of the scale is going like this, and they start using things like viral contagions and nuclear warheads and anything that just gets the job done a bit quicker. Because don't get me wrong, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a nuke, bro. And it's like, not being funny, they were like, oh, librarians, we're getting rid of them. Oh, Terran chivalry, like Huskarls and stuff, that's cringe, that's bad. We're going to keep the stubborn defiance, but we're going to add war crimes so that it kind of helps. Like, we can make a big wall against our enemy, we can be shot at and don't care, and then we'll just say, blow them up from space, please. Excellent. Nice. Next fight. And for the rest of the
it's a good answer. I said my favorite part was the fact that Mortarion says, listen, when we find an enemy that we will struggle to beat, we're going to now strap engines to meteorites and use them as shields, and then just launch them at the planets, despite even if it works or not.
And the interesting thing about the Death Guard, though, the Barbarans, is they saw Mortarion as the business. They were like, Dad is the coolest guy ever. They had like a messianic complex of like, Mortarion, he dealt with so much, and he's so cool, and I love nuclear warheads and phosphex. So I think he's the bee's knees. So they all became kind of like yes men, and they basically just thought, our Primarch can do no wrong. We're going to defend his use of like war crimes. It's fine. And the Terrans, again, they start dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And for the remainder of the Great Crusade, that's all they're really noted for. They get rid of the Psychers. They're present during the Council of Nicaea, which I'll mention in the next segment, where Mortarion, he was raised by necromancers. He hated Psychers. He hated anyone who had like mystic powers. And the Death Guard hated the Dusk Raiders hated mutants, but they abided psychers. They're like, they're useful. Mortarion, no, mutations that include psychers, get rid of them all. And I think because of the fact that they never really adapted their combat doctrines, they kind of kept simple, kind of like the Iron Warriors. They never really got respect from their peers. They weren't the Ultramarines. They weren't the Sons of Horus. They weren't as cool as the White Scar one is. And it's like, oh, is anyone's favorite legion the Death Guard? And the Imperials is kind of like if you had like a baseball card collection of Primarchs and you like getting the holograms, you'd be like, oh god, give me a Gilliman, give me a Gilliman. Oh, Dawn, that's fine. You get Mortar, you're like, oh, I'm never going to use.
They're accused of like they fought in a certain way to prove a point rather than this is the best way to achieve victory. Because like when they to the Death Guard, they were like, a Pyrrhic victory, even if it's like we didn't need a Pyrrhic victory, you didn't need to do it that fast. They were like, man, what do you mean? I've just got a victory. Why are you not praising me? And you're like, you look behind you and the entire like shed and house is burning and then smells like chemicals and crap.
What do you mean I didn't do good?
Yeah, so they're like, what do you mean? We literally just won. And you're like, yeah, but if you took like an extra 2 months, you could have kept all that infrastructure intact, but you didn't.
Yeah, it's like imagine calling an exterminator. Imagine calling an exterminator to get rid of like infestation of rats in your house, and you go, "That's really annoying." I'll call the Death Guard, and they're like, "All right, give us a few days and come back." And you come back, and like the house is on fire. There's a hole in the wall. Your car is like there's just like a tire of your car. All the flower beds are just dead. And they're like, "Right, we got rid of the rats." It's like, all right, I'm not paying you. So what do you mean you're not paying me? That's on my house. It's like you paid us to get rid of the rats, but my house. And that was kind of their modus operandi. It was victory at any cost. We don't really care about.
They didn't do they never went to the second part, which is after you win the battle, which is you build civilization. Yeah. They never did that part ever.
No,
which other legions would have done. So the Death Guard were like, "What do you mean we did like everything we were meant to do?" And you're like, yeah, but other people are doing it better than you. So
yeah, even the Iron Warriors had like some culture, and the Iron Hands, they'd be like, "Oh, I guess if we have to like, I guess we need to install a government. Oh, it's so annoying. I just want to go punch someone in the face." Like, okay, guys, but we got to do it. Death Guard, they didn't stop. They were just like battle to battle to battle, and they would just be like, "Right, everyone's dead. We're moving on."
We should have
didn't care about upkeep.
We should have mentioned earlier, the Iron Hands had a contingent of Thousand Sons and Ultramarines with them for most times, who actually probably helped them do all that annoying politics stuff.
Yeah, they like other legions figured out of like, oh, we're not good at this. Well, Death Guard, nope, I can do it myself. You know, it's like that scene in Scary Movie of the guy, it's just like, I can do it myself, and he puts.
Okay.
They had some traditions though, like the drinking of the poison.
Yeah, whenever the Death Guard won a campaign, Mortarion would invite a particularly crucial officer or soldier who did like an amazing act of gallantry and be like, "All right, mate, we're getting out the nice cups. We're going to put some poison in and we're going to toast our victory." And it was the test of like, you drink it and you go, "Oh, it's horrid." And Mortarion's a Primarch, he doesn't care. But the Astartes are like, "Ugh." It's like next day it's like, "Oh, brother Greg, how you feeling?" He's like, "I think I've got a bit of a sore throat." It's like, yeah, you did like drink a draft of like
Mortarion again.
Yeah, you were doing poison fireball with Mortarion. But that's kind of all I wanted to say about the Death Guard. They were just characterized as pretty brutal, unremittingly violent in a kind of stoic kind of way. They had some honor at the start when they were the Dusk Raiders. When they were Terrans, when they were British, it was fine. And then they became Barbarans, and then it was like, war crimes.
Can we say how they pointlessly adopted the scythe as a weapon? It's so impractical, but they were like, my aesthetic brother.
It's cool. Yeah. Not being funny, but silence is like one of the coolest Primarch weapons. It's just
it's just great.
Now it just smells like diarrhea though, and it's long.
Yeah.
The poison damage is the diarrhea smell you have to endure whilst being next to it.
Yeah. But other than that, the other legion to talk about is I believe you're a fan of this legion, aren't you? A little bit, Hal.
Mycopium, Magnus the Red can sit on a fire hydrant and make it disappear.
Am I right in thinking these? Like, who's your favorite legion? Hal? Is it the Thousand Sons?
No, hang on.
It is
What?
Thousand Sons pre-fall of Prospero.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What I
What do you
mean
mean by that, Hal?
You know
Explain.
exactly what I said. You know exactly what I said. Eye contact, one drop.
What?
He's magic, bro. Don't worry about it.
He's magic. He makes it disappear. A bunny will come out.
But the Thousand Sons were recruited from the Achaemenid Empire during the Unification Wars. Weirdly, this empire of humanity wasn't at war with the Emperor. They were one of the first who was just like, "Daddy, chill," and they're just like, "No, we're not gonna resist. Just don't hurt us."
They're meant to be like Zoroastrians, technically.
Yeah.
Some, whether like not like literally, but as in like a Warhammer copy and pasted version of. Yeah, I don't know if Colin, you know what Zoroastrianism is. If you look at like a brief expo just for people.
I mean, very brief. I know.
Yeah.
It was like
our history boy here.
Roughly for like in the areas like Persia at the time. I know it was popular with some like Eastern Roman Empire soldiers. The time it's been a while since I've read much of this. Hal, I'm afraid I do not have much.
They worship in front of fire, as like fire is where. I can't remember if it's like if God or Zoroaster views stuff. Like, isn't it's like a portal? Fire's like a portal. They don't worship fire. Fire's like in the presence of Zoroastrianism.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking Freddie Mercury's parents were Zoroastrians?
Yes. Yeah. That's how most people.
Never even heard this term before. Sounds very.
Zoroastrians are the ones who, not to go like full on history, they're the ones I think who like some of them are in the Bible because they looked after the Jews like way back in history at some point. Is it Darius, King Darius or something? I don't know. I might be getting my history mixed up, but but if you look up Zoroastrianism, it's very like, oh, is this like Christianity? It's quite similar to Christianity, but it's a lot older. There's like concepts of like a god and then the devil, like Shaitan. Do they have? Is it Shaitan or? My knowledge of it is quite old at this point. I need to rejig. But they it's very you might not to go into the religious talk too much, but it very much is like I feel like I've seen this before. Isn't like it feels quite similar to
very cool.
Very cool.
But the interesting but the interesting thing about them was they took the most powerful psychically gifted aspirants from the Achaemenid Empire and they trained them within the beneath the Himalayan mountains in the secret gene labs where they grew the Primarchs. And the Emperor was like, okay, we want to like make a super duper psyker core of Marines. We don't like this is our like premier wizard faction within the Space Marines. And of course the
brothers of rejogged it. It was Ahura Mazda, I think, is God, and then Ahriman is the name of the devil. Which obviously is might come up again.
Interesting. Well, again, this is where Ormuzd and Ahriman, the twin brothers, were trained. Ormuzd. And so yeah, they were trained in the site by the Emperor's people where the Primarchs were first vat-grown. And eventually they got to be, like a legion. The Emperor started to deploy them kind of sparingly because the Emperor saw the value of psychers. But in his mind, really, which is where he would eventually end up, was he thought the only people I can trust to use psychic powers are me and Malkador. Right? Everyone else is susceptible to corruption. Everyone else is a bit of a wuss. Like if you think of the Scoville scale of psychers, Emperor's just like Ghost Pepper, just like don't care. Malkador's like, oh, it's got a bit of a heat to it. Whereas like everyone else is like, milk. Like that's a way to think about it. Like and to be fair, neither the Emperor nor Malkador ever got corrupted by chaos. So there is a bit of truth to that. But then again, they were both perpetuals and Gador possibly had a bit of help being kind of like a conglomerate of several people in a weird clandestine order, which doesn't exist anymore. Like, I don't know, it's a bit shifty. But the main point was he went, okay, well, if we're going to use Psychers, let's give it a shot. We'll use the Thousand Sons. Because of the niche they were filling, there wasn't that many of them, which is why they were known as the Thousand Sons, because the Emperor was the one who named them. And they did pretty well, especially against techno-barbarians. It's like, oh, they can't even get close. Like, if you had the Thousand Sons to the size of the Ultramarines, it would be a wipe. Like, super powerful Astarte Psychers in those numbers would just destroy everything.
Well,
kind of like what the Grey Knights would become.
My favorite part is the fact that, like, in the fall of Prospero, it took the entire legion of the Space Wolves, Custodians, and Sisters of Silence, the anti-psych weapon, and they still like took ridiculous casualties against the Thousand Sons. Like, if it's like a straight up 1v1 of all legions, the Ultramarines would probably win just because they got the numbers.
Yeah,
but if it was a level playing field, it'd be like,
if it is like one legionary versus another, a Thousand Sons Psyker is pretty. He's way better than a Psyker of any other legion. I mean,
and even with the Battle of Prospero, when they realized they were using the Silent Sisterhood, they fell back and went, right, we're going to set up sniping positions and shoot them from range. We're going to do all these traps. They were like a Swiss army knife.
Ran with no helmets at them, full pelt. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. And unleashed the Wolfen and just ate their faces. And like, oh, no.
But right
you can't beat feral Space Marines.
These poor techno-barbarians are being inverted anus first and having their nerves stripped from them.
And it's worth remembering that it's also like, it's not just a case of Psychers shoot lightning and fireballs. Like, they had a cult that was experts of communication, so they could telepathically communicate to like thousands of men at once. They had a cult eventually, which was a healing cult, where, oh, I've been shot in the arm, and then brother Apothecus just kind of goes, watch this. Hey, it's healed. Hey, let's go drinking. It was like they were really, really good at healing, combat, fire, like magic missile, lightning, altering time. Or like if you were to have even Stevens legions, it would not be a contest. The Thousand Sons would be the most powerful. But the reason that you don't see more than 1,000 of them, because there's a bit of a cost of being a Psyker.
Got nerfed. We had to get nerfed, man.
Yeah, you had to put the patch in afterwards because it was a bit unbalanced, and then Games Workshop went, that's a bit overpowered. Okay. So as they embarked across the Great Crusade, their powers continued to grow. And for, I believe it was about 5 years, everything's going great. They're winning over planets not just through force, but they're also using their powers as like they're doing diplomacy, but they're also manipulating people's. They're doing like the Jedi mind tricks. Like, you want to give over your entire population. I want to give my entire population to the Imperium. It's like that's what they did. But as their powers grew, something called the flesh change happened, which is basically like a mutation that turns you into like an abomination is the best way to put it. Big spindly limbs, howling like a beast, multiple eyes, blood and viscera everywhere, erupting from ceramite, and you're going, that doesn't look good. And even though they kept building their numbers, this was happening a lot. And the Emperor went, shit. The experiment's doomed, oh no. Luckily, though, the Thousand Sons eventually found a planet called Prospero. And there was a guy on this planet called Magnus the Red. And Magnus was actually communicating with the Emperor since he was like a little baba through psychic projection. Because he was so powerful, he was actually communicating with the Emperor the whole time. All the other, like, whilst the Lion was eating raw meat in the jungles of Caliban, and Horus was getting really good at playing poker in the gang hives of Cathonia, and Gilliman was learning how to, like, read every book in Ultramar and do governance and
reading about what fun is.
Yeah, and reading about the concept of fun on a mechanical level. And Conrad Kurz was crying and eating people. Magnus was kind of having a chat with his dad. He was being mentored on how to hone his psychic potential, going for journeys through the great ocean, as he called it. Meanwhile, the Emperor being like, right, kind of like that idea of, again, like the school kid being left at school and the Emperor going like, all right, I'll see you in 17 years. Just like behave. I'll be keeping in contact. You're giving you like a phone call every few days. Don't go in the warp too deep. It's a bit, a bit too small. It's like, if you had like a big swimming pool and you left a kid at like a hotel, bear with me. It's like what's the word? It's allegory. It's like, okay, you don't want to be swimming in the deep end. It's dangerous. I want you to you can go in the pool, but don't stay in the shallow end. Be careful. Put your sunscreen on while it's warm. Well, I'll see you in a few years. And then Dad eventually arrives at Prospero, and Thousand Sons aren't looking too good. The Emperor kind of just goes, what can I say? We've had to cull a lot of these guys. They keep turning into these monster things. I don't know. Good luck. And for a while, the Thousand Sons are just left at Prospero whilst Magnus figures out what's going wrong. And eventually, Magnus thinks, I've got an idea. There's obviously some kind of warp-derived infection or mutation. I'll go into the great ocean and find an answer. And then he just happens to find this this creature in there, and he's just like, oh yeah, mate, you all right? Yeah, I'm just chilling in the great ocean. How are you doing? Yeah. Oh, your sons are in a lot of pain. That's a shame. Maybe I can help you with that. Magnus is like, all right, what do you want? Can I have one of your eyes? So then Magnus gouges out one of his eyes and gives it to the creature. And the creature's like, all right, mate, cool. Lovely. Okay. No more curse. Job's a good one. Cool.
Dr. Crocodile Dundee over there, apparently.
Yeah. All right there, mate. Just give me your eye. Fix your legion, all right? Yeah.
That's not an
Lovely.
eye. Now that's an eye.
Now that's an eye. Oh, that's not a flesh curse. But basically, we don't exactly know the details, but Magnus sacrificed his eye and something else maybe to cure his gene sons.
One
and
of
he doesn't know.
Ahriman's brother. He sacrificed Ahriman's twin brother.
Yeah. Well, he'd already died, hadn't he? He was a captain in the Thousand Sons.
Did he get the flesh change?
He got the flesh change.
Yeah. During the campaigning. Dead, oh, he wasn't dead, but he was. I think they cryo-froze a lot of them.
Yeah, when they were like, oh, we're about to, my dude's literally he's bulging, but not in the way we like. So his flesh is leaking out of his armor. Oops. So they went and chucked them in cryo sleep.
He's getting swole, but not in a cool Eli way, like a abomination kind of way.
My dude's a space marine, and he should not have cankles. Okay, not have cankles.
That's not spray on bronze tan. That's dried blood and viscera. This is not good.
Someone did ask. Jake Thornton asked, why didn't the Thousand Sons use the same protection from being mutated as the Grey Knights? Basically, when they're in their tubes, or when they were undergoing gene seed stuff, there was a warp storm that surprisingly happened at the same time as when the Thousand Sons were basically being turned into a legion. It was most likely, or it was Zeech who basically went infection. So the infection is within every single Thousand Son.
Yeah, there was weird fun going on Terra, and the Emperor was just kind of it's probably nothing. It's fine. Weird stuff's going on. Storms. But yeah, so Magnus makes this deal with this creature in the Great Ocean and doesn't read the fine print. And for a while, to be fair, things are actually not going too badly. The Thousand Sons are like, oh, that's nice. We're not dying in droves from the flesh change. Amazing. I guess we can do compliance with our brother legions. They do this thing where they send a detachment of usually a captain of each of the different cults to a different legion on secondment. So for example, I think it might have been Photos to cut. No, it was one of the captains was sent to the Emperor's children, just to they wanted to accrue knowledge, so they second one of their captains each one. I think Ahriman went to the Iron Warriors, and they would learn something from their brother legions, come back and go here's what I found out. one of the captains, the one who was sent to the Emperor's children, he was quite beautiful. And so Fulgrim was like, "You're pretty hot." And he's like, "Cheers, bruh." And he gave him like a handwritten equivalent of like an oath of moment, like a purity seal or something. And he always wore it because he was like, I don't want to brag, but the Phoenician thinks I'm pretty cool. So yeah. And they started to get like quite well known, and like the Iron Warriors are like, "You're kind of weird, but I respect that you can kill a lot of people pretty good." And Arman's like, "Thanks, Forex." And again, like Magnus had a good relationship with Perturabo. One wanted to learn the mysteries of Arcana. The other wanted to learn the mysteries of like the mechanical. So they had like that kind of familiarity of like trying to uncover secrets and stuff. And for a while, it's going pretty well. They're one of the smaller legions, but they're super powerful. So whenever they go on, like especially now with a Primarch, Thousand Sons land on your planet, it's not going to take long. It's like, yeah, we're hurling meteors at you, or manipulating your politicians to do as we say, or we're healing your leprous children through acts of magic, and you're going, "Oh, whatever can we do to help?" Like, join the Imperium, post boys. However, after a few years, the Thousand Sons start to do some campaigns in the Agoru and Arcreach cluster sectors of space, and they start to fight alongside the Space Wolves. And at the time, they're getting on quite well. The Space Wolves actually quite like them for a little while. And after the Agoru campaign's done, the Space Wolves, it's like a small detachment of Space Wolves are there, and they say, the Wolf King's doing a campaign in the Arcreach cluster with the Word Bearers. You want to come and help out? And they're like, I don't have plans. So they go and help. And they go on this planet. Compliance is kind of difficult. It's, 2 legions already there, and it's kind of annoying. And eventually they find this big repository, like a library of knowledge. And Thousand Sons, being a bunch of book nerds, they're like, I want to read some books. So they start to go, okay,
abandon the fight. Let's go get the books.
Well, it's like, while we're here, how about we like cordon off the library, make sure it doesn't get burned to a crisp, because we know what Björn's like. Oh, that flamer.
It was inside the Space
Word
Wolves
Bearers burning those books.
territory
These guys. Yeah.
So they weren't,
and they were. To be fair, they were also like, they weren't. But again, to be fair, one likes to the Word Bearers like to burn a lot of books. The Space Wolves like to eat them. So it's not a good combination in like preserving knowledge. They go, that's okay. We'll just send a few people to cordon this off. Eventually, the Space Wolves come knocking, like, oi, see the map. This is our bit. I was like, oh, it's okay. It's just a library. It's just a library. And they're like, nah, mate. That there is full of like cringe, bad knowledge. Yucky. Ugh. Bad. Don't read it. It's tainted. Bad. Yuck. Ugh.
It's naughty material and not the furry kind. Disgusting.
Naughty. Yeah. Exactly. That's like dark web books. Don't read them. It's bad. And they're like, it's just read through them and see if there's any insight. Nah, mate. Heresy. That's bad. And eventually, the two come to blows. They don't actually like kill any Space Wolves. They just like the Space Wolves just kind of like push into them like rugby tackle, like a wall of just burly ceramite clad men, just kind of like trying to push them over. They do start killing some of the wolves.
They have
a shield on the like.
The Space Wolves have a real shield wall, and the Thousand Sons have a psychic shield wall. So they're holding up their hands while these Space Wolves are like headbutting against a barrier.
It's like one half. It's a season of the series Vikings. The other side, it's like force push. Just that scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan doing that with their hands. And a few actual wolves die. And the Thousand Sons try to like knock out a bunch of the Space Wolves using psychic powers. Like, maybe I can just shut the blood flow to their brain. Like, imagine like a rear naked choke, but psychically. It's like, we'll knock them out for a few minutes. It'll calm them down. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of them starts getting a bit of a flesh change going. And they're like, not this again. And all of a sudden, this guy becomes a monstrosity. And so it's him and him and him. And the Space Wolves
one of them.
Yeah, well, I think it's more like one transforms and the others are like, we're going to change. We're going to change. And then the Leman Russ arrives and he's like, what is that? Bang. bolt around to the face. Magnus is not very happy that one of his men has been shot to death by the Wolf King. But to be fair to Leman Russ, what is that? And from that point on, they're getting close to like knocking each other out. Lorgar gets between the two and is like, calm down.
Daddy, chill.
I'm sorting this. Daddy, chill. Brothers, chill. And he's just like in the middle. Like, I know it's a weak one, but please stop fighting. Daddy's going to get upset with us. Stop it. Stop it. And eventually Lehman's like, all right.
What?
I kind of respect Lorgar a bit. Fine. But I'm telling Dad. So Lehman tells Dad. And Dad's not very happy because Psyker's turning into flesh. Like, he basically says, Magnus, I thought you handled this. It's like, I did handle this. How did you handle this again? Don't worry about it. I figured it out. It's like, well, you didn't do a good job. And then Lehman's like, right, we need this whole Psyker business. Not that I have any Psykers in my legion, but this whole Psyker business is not going well. We need to put an end to this. And Mortarian's like, I agree. What's that, Colin?
Got a donation from Caleb Collins.
2 donations.
Okay.
There's one bid back.
Okay.
They're both from Caleb Collins, actually.
This one is Grammaticus did nothing wrong and will return. That's
right, baby. That's right.
That's a take.
Oh,
the other one was Conrad was based, Magnus a fool, and Lehman a fury.
Furry.
I
He might
don't
be
know
a
if
furious
Conrad was
fairy,
based,
don't
but
know.
he was cool.
He had an exceptional taste in leather. But yes, too bad it was human leather. But yeah, basically, Leman Russ and the Space Wolves say Psykers are bad news. Not that we use Psykers at all. We derive our powers from Fenris. It's totally different, guys. It's totally different. Death Guard at this point are already like, hey, we don't like Psykers at all because Mortarion said so. And the Raven Guard are just kind of there like, I don't like them either.
Someone please notice us.
Yeah, they just want to get involved. So they say, hey, we need to stop this. So all of a sudden, the Council of Nicaea happens. And this is just before the outbreak of the Horus Heresy by a few years. But in like Warhammer has this thing where it's like this happens and then a few years pass and everyone just thinks, oh, the next day this happened. But they start to say, okay, we're going to have a conclave of should we use Psykers or not. On the defense, you've got the White Stars, the Thousand Sons is the main one, and a couple of like smaller legions, like I'm sure some Blood Angels, maybe some Ultramarines just go, I don't mind. Some of the Primarchs like Rogal Dawn, they didn't care either way, but Magnus did his best to say, Dad, don't know if you noticed, we've been doing a really good job. We haven't been killing as many as the other legions because we can manipulate like the populace to do what we want, and we're doing all this healing arts, and we're starting to really get the hang of this warp stuff. We've only been at it for a few years, but give us a bit more time. We'll teach other Imperial citizens how to use the warp, and then we can get like our equivalent of like Medicare for all, but with Psykers, and it'll be like we'll have all these, like we'll have like an NHS for every planet in the solar system, and we'll do all this stuff, and we'll make fireworks, and it'll cool. And then so yeah, cool, Magnus. And then Death Guard's like, I was raised by a necromancer, and I'm not over it. Thanks, Mortarion. And then Ophir Weirdmake of the Space Wolves, who'd been hanging out with Ahriman for a while, is like, they're using Maleficarum. They were protecting fell knowledge on this planet, and also we saw this thing happen to one of them with this flesh change malarkey, and that's bad. And that was just all the Emperor really needed to know. He's like, right, the flesh change is back. I'm calling it quits, right? I was right. Only me and Malcador can be trusted. Magnus continues to not do as he's told. He keeps going a bit too deep in the pool. I've had enough. And so he tells the Thousand Sons and all the other legions, no more librarians. We're keeping astropaths, we're pin navigators, but Psykers aren't allowed. It's too dangerous. And the Thousand Sons go back to Prospero and have a bit of a sulk, because if you think about it, that's their whole shtick. Without their psychic powers, they're nowhere near as specialized as the other legions. They can't compete with the other legions in combat without their psychic powers. There's less of them than any other legion, and they just can't catch a break. And this would lead to eventually Magnus hearing of Supercal's betrayal and trying to fix everything, but in the end being the catalyst that ruins everything humanity ever does from henceforth for the rest of time. And that's the Thousand Sons.
And then
Did I
one of
miss
them
anything?
one of them gets glassed by Magnus because he's trying to warn the others about Prospero.
Yes, one of the captains is like, why are you like protecting like the space walls? Why am I seeing people like wandering around who usually monitor like the equipment to check for like invaders going, and he just kind of like a watchman with the end with Rorschach, and he just kind of goes, and he just pops. Oh, poor guy. Yeah, Magnus is bad.
2 donations. Good one from Tom Warren. GW wasn't brave enough to add Saint Nick punching Magnus at their Council of Nicaea. Very true. Based Saint Nick. And then the Scandinavian name, Seglosinir, something like that. Shout out to the Great Crusade, Thousand Sons for having unironic straight up demons as familiars that they thought were just cute little friends. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't realize they were
donations, guys.
Properly evil. I feel I'm so gutted every time. It gets me every Tim, because it's
every team.
I agree every Tim.
I think because the Thousand Sons are like kind of the human equivalent of what is like, I think probably Eldar, in terms of like total mastery of psychic potential mixed in with like martial prowess. But then they just have to get nerfed by stupid councils named after historical debates. So I like the Thousand Sons a lot. The 30k ones though, because it's just so. There's only one bit I just do miss. I miss when they. I think it's the Lunar Wars. One of them they describe like to the Whites. Are like, oh yeah, we fought with the Thousand Sons at one point. And all their scores were just like floating up to different levels and like blasting people with like hand palm psychic powers. And they said it was like amazing to watch them, and they felt really bad, like because they were like being outperformed. But then one of them just started like convulsing, and then they just ran away from the entire fight. And then they like hit him away, and they wouldn't say what happened. So they were like, they thought they were cowards, or like something happened, or like one of them was sick, and the Space Marine being sick was.
He disappeared in a cringe way, not like the Blood Angels when all of a sudden one of them disappears and we don't know why. But he fought pretty good.
Sanguiniest. Kato Combs, thank you again for the donation. He says Darth Jar Jar versus Magnus the Red in cringe off. Because Darth Jar Jar is not cringy though. That's genuinely terrifying, and I don't sleep well.
He's in Lego Star Wars.
Is he really?
Not
in the
Darth
new one,
Jar
I think.
Jar.
Okay.
Wait, really?
I think so. I've heard that. I've heard
you're fucking with me.
It sounds like maybe it was like a mod.
I'm pretty sure. Because we were talking about
it autofills. That's dangerous. Oh no, it is official.
Did they really put it in? Wow.
Oh no.
Wow.
All the things that Disney is doing with Star Wars at the moment, that's better than.
Look, that's kind of funny. I'll give it that.
It is Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, if they're gonna do it, put it in Lego Star Wars. That's where it's
one of the best games ever made.
Amen.
I will say that with what we've talked about today, in terms of like Horus Heresy books, there's a few amongst these that are unfortunately quite skippable. There's the few Ultramarine ones where like some Ultramarine characters are prominent, but it's not really as Legion focused. Death Guard ones, they're barely in. They're in good books, but they're not actually the main characters of a lot of the books.
I did enjoy the Buried Dagger, but that's literally the last book in because it's book 54, and it's splitting time with the Knights Errant, so it's like half of it's Death Guard, half of it's Knights Errant. But that's
half of it's Foundation of Grey Knights. That's a good one. The book A Thousand Sons, I really like that book just because it feels like an actual epic fantasy, although it is long. Like so much happens in that one. It's just so long.
I think that was like the second Horus Heresy book I ever read when I was like 13 years old, and it was on a camping trip. It's weird nostalgia.
Yeah, and I get upset when I read the Magnus scenes because he's such a smug cock.
Burning a Prospero is good because they kill a load of them. That's good fun.
But I do like the part where he almost gets glassed by a Eldar Titan. And he just can't like hack it. Like they fight two Eldar Titans that are like not in their full form.
What
do
you think of the I'm sorry.
They basically. I'll just finish it.
Go.
They fight the Eldar Titans, and Magnus thinks he's so cool, and he ends up taking a body blast by one of them, and one of his Thousand Son guys steps in front and is like shields him slightly, but he's just like, oh my god, I almost died from that. and then the rest of Thousand Sons managed to, with the Space Wars, put them down. But after they lose like so many people, but yeah,
what's
Magnus
your
was being
opinion
arrogant.
on the Magnus Primarch book?
I liked parts of it, but I just felt it was unnecessary. Like, there's a lot of Horus Heresy or even Primarch novels that are like quite like you don't. I liked the bit because there are some parts in it where like he felt pain for the first time because he wasn't prepared to feel it. Like he never felt physical pain until a tank shot him through his gut. And there's like it's one of those books where like there's cool scenes in the book, but I wouldn't read that book again because I'm like, I don't feel like I need to. I didn't love it. It was all right. I liked it, but I wouldn't love it.
My favorite thing was again the little buddy cop thing going on with Ahriman and Forex, where it's like there's one bit where Forex, Ahriman's like, right, I'm gonna have to leave my body now, protect me, and Fox is like, okay, and it's just like slump, and just like an Iron Warrior standing next to.
What did you say? Leave his body.
He goes limp. He goes limp, and Forex is just defending him like, freaking nerds, and he's just like bang, 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 bang. It's good fun.
Yeah, I just like Thousand
by the way.
Sorry. What did that? Biggie says Biggie wanted Magnus to sit on Colin's couch. True.
That's the true golden throne, baby.
I'll just finish off. I liked Thousand Sons a lot just because they seem so genuinely different from most of the rest of the other like these like strong cult, like a very strong Legion culture, interesting home world, interesting characters, and then interesting like Legion structure and like unique power and stuff like that. But I mean, the 40k stuff is still nice, but again, it's just a shame because there's so many other things in 40k which are just like so good. You're like, it just falls into like the neat category.
I must say, if you want to like read a good Death Guard one as well, get Flight of the Eisenstein. Perfect.
Yeah, classic.
You see the bad side and the good side of the Death Guard between Garrow and what's his name, Grilgor, and you kind of see the strife going on between the two sides of it, the Terrans and the Barbarans, which is a good book. I like that one.
You know, I'm with Colin recently. I've been really feeling the need for more Xenos stuff. Genuinely,
like all the time, bro. The need never goes away.
No, I've just been I've been vibing with it. I don't mind
read the Path books still for the Eldar though.
GW just need to find a way to like. I don't mind if it's versus Space Marines. Just get him in there. Like,
please
just get him in.
Yep.
I mean, like I was saying, we kind of mentioned it on Wednesday. Like, scrounging for Eldar dubs has now been relegated to Caiaphas Cain books.
Yeah. Jeez.
If people want to, it's a thing like the lore books, like the Horus Heresy is designed in a way to push product, which is the Horus Heresy line.
Yeah.
If GW want to sell more models, they make them look good. Not Cody has. They make them look good, and then they push lore with it. So then people like the sole reason like some things sell better is because the book they're associated with are good.
Well, we have so many Tau books. There's a lot of Tau content. Eldar just get nothing.
Farsight books makes it.
Nothing.
Farsight books are the reason that Farsight Enclaves does so much.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I've just been working through Shadow Sun, and I've got the 2 Bill Kelly Farsight books. I've heard some people don't like those books.
Yeah, some people really don't like them. I'm not sure why, but maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention when I read them, but some people think they ruined Farsight's character or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they're on the list.
No, I like them.
I did too, but maybe that's just because I'm desperate for Xenos lore as well. So.
Shout out to when Eli did a 3.5 hour the part of like entire Farsight.
That's how it'll be. I did find some more Gene Stealer cult books that I'm looking forward to reading too, but I gotta get through. Necrons get a lot. That's another Xenos. Necrons and Tau get a lot of content, but every other Xenos faction just gets screwed.
One day, when the Eldar are part of a launch box set,
the Eldar need a renaissance like the Infinite and Divine and Twice Dead King. When they did like a good push for the Necron, they need something like that for the Eldar.
Yeah.
I think if they just do something like the Path books, then that would probably work well, because I think the Path books were apparently cool. I do need to read them though, so I could be wrong, but they look cool.
I'm about to say I've been missing this name. Commander's Mighty Schlong of
Yeah.
Sickness.
Thank you for the
Still waiting
fun.
for a Bellicor book or any demon book.
I need to learn my Bellicor lore. I don't know anything
He
about
does show up in some things. He has side character energy. The character, like
Caleb Collins, thank you for $2. 20th donation. Wow. Clone Fulgrim could steal the last Chrome sword. If only I wish Clone Fulgrim would come.
He exists
back,
for
but he's
Fabius
not gonna
Bile's
come back.
storyline. He doesn't
He's not
exist to
gonna
be
come
a part of
back.
the
I
setting. He
know,
exists
I
for
know.
Fabius Bile's character development.
A lot of times-
The AA guys did just make a comic and little video on that. Though,
He's
so
not
check
coming
that out.
back.
You know what? If
It's fan canon now.
if it's still canon, they might do something with it one day.
I mean,
Maybe
it's
in
still
like
canon.
10 years.
He's just in Trazen's fun box.
Yeah, which no one ever really gets out of.
No, you are not leaving the fun box.
Apart from Greyfax. Yeah.
He is a Primarch
Yeah.
though, so I mean,
Well, he didn't put her in the
it
real
makes
fun
sense,
box. He
but,
put
yeah.
her in just a
Yeah.
random Tesseract labyrinth. It's like, if you can get out,
Yeah,
good for you. If
She,
not, I
she
don't
was
care.
on she was on his Pokemon belt. So he's just like, I do. Greyfax.
She was on his shit list.
Oh no,
Uh,
I was thinking the one before Greyfax. Who was that?
Uh,
The one he wrote the letter to, like thank you for the 5
Alish.
Catacan regiments.
Aliyah.
Oh yeah.
A something.
Yeah.
A
Well,
layer?
even then, you only get out of the fun box if he lets you out,
Yeah.
or your Oracan.
Bellicor did get owned. Did get owned by Ariman. He's in the Ariman's second book.
If you want Bellacore content, I'm afraid you. Well, I'm not afraid at all. Go to Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, he's there.
He's actually cool there.
I think I would say for all the donations that were tonight, thank you so much, brother. There's been a lot of love. We
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again.
Particularly on our hour-long only Ultramarine segment. we get just sidetracked. Poor
My
Colin.
bad.
Well, poor Colin, though.
No, it's fine.
So we've almost finished the Great Crusade stuff. But we will.
Recap.
I mean,
3 legions to go.
3 more legions. Ones I think Colin Pro isn't like any of them, so that'll be even more fun that episode. I know the salamanders are there, aren't they?
Hmm.
We talked about
No,
that.
we
Who's
did
gonna
them with the
undergo that
Shattered
task?
Legions.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh,
gonna
we
be-
did.
It's going to be Sons of
Is-
Horus, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion.
Oh, Word Bears, baby. Is
Can't wait for the Alpha
is
Legion.
the Vulcan Primarch book any good? Does it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
That's
No
too bad.
Salamander book is ever good, apart from the really old ones.
That's the curse of the Salamanders and Dark Angels, isn't it? They're not allowed to have good books.
The Dark Angels have some good,
Excepting the Lion book. That's not a Dark Angel book, though.
I mean,
That's a Lion book.
There's like
No, they do
a
have
audio. There are some like audio anthologies, like some like they have like a Raven Guard and a Dark Angel and stuff on Audible. The Dark Angels were kind of fun, but again, everyone is like the Fallen, the Fallen, the Fallen, the Fallen. So like, could we?
Yeah.
Although I did
Fallen.
really enjoy the Cipher book. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I do want to read that. I do want to learn my cipher lore.
Yeah, it was really fun because it was
I think we should,
Imperium fighting itself.
We'll probably do more Xenos and Warhammer fantasy soon though, because we're vibing on that.
Please, yes,
Indeed.
please. Vampire counts.
I think.
Maybe get
thank
some
you.
more,
Okay, sorry.
either some more fantasy firesides, or try that sci-fi story time one day. Who knows?
Endless space, endless space, endless.
Dead Space.
Second Dark Souls.
Oh, Dark Souls, brother.
I'm playing.
Can I give you some poses?
Dude,
Maybe.
big shout out to
Because I got
Horsefuck Valley.
this guy in the.
Dude,
Put this
Elden
guy
Ring.
in the base first, and then maybe I will
Look.
do GBs.
Anyone who knows Dark Souls 2 knows what I just said, and they've been sent through Vietnam flashbacks because of it. I hate
Yep.
Document USA says Eli hit the gritty. Damn,
Hit
this
the
man
gritty.
is-
Okay, if you donate, bro, I'll actually hit the gritty. I'm not a coward. You heard it?
Farscape Boys. Farscape Boys? What's Farscape Boys?
Farscape is a
Okay.
TV series. It's
Was
good
it-
fun.
Front
Don't
double
think I've seen
bicep.
it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Something.
Oh, guys, I know my god. Damn, Eli's big. Fucking hell.
Why is that just my full name there?
Well,
My gritty. Is this the gritty? Is the
oh, here we go.
like that one?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of like
see showing Colin
And the
and
world's
this
smallest
pretty?
happening.
Am I grading on that?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh man,
peak.
that's funny. Here's a side tricep.
Just showing off now.
Make sure listen, the muscles are not for the girls; they're for the boys. Okay.
You
The
like
only
gritty?
reason-
I'll gritty again. There's no room in here.
It's just like dance,
Oh,
monkey dance.
Uh,
Damn,
can't even see the left side.
guys don't go to the gym for women. They go to the gym so they can impress other boys at the gym with their
Yeah,
physique.
literally.
It's truly true. That being said, though, I think everyone again. Thank you so much for everyone who donated throughout the episode. People were very, very generous today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. We it's very. I'm surprised we get so much. It's so nice. Got more stuff coming soon. Got some fantasy fireside, but slightly different. We're keeping it a bit secret for the moment because we record up something for that. We're gonna do some. Yeah, we're gonna offshoot into some other things because I think a lot of you, obviously, brothers, we appreciate you and you do like Warhammer stuff, but I'm sure there's quite a few of you who come from other things. We did some Halo stuff not long ago, and people were, my God, the knowledge from some of you lot about Halo, crazy. Truly, every reference was understood. So we're going to do some other stuff, but we've got some tier lists and all the quizzes, all that good stuff coming soon. Oh, it says main event. It says I'd like to see Colin do some more video game reviews. I miss your Mandalore.
That
it's a good idea.
Warhammer games, I'll do that. Other general video game stuff, that'll probably be another channel sometime in the future.
Mandalore, Mandalore's been around a while, and he kind of has it down, if you know what I mean.
Mandalore from Wish will return one day, just not today. He'll return for Space Marine, but then he's going to go hibernate until I make a second channel. Or another good Warhammer game comes out, which is infrequent, but it does happen.
Cosmic
Shadow of the Horned Rat. Oh fuck, Mandalore from Wish might be coming back soon.
I've been thinking about making a Dungeons and Deadlifts D&D lore.
Nice.
Oh man, 100%. It's a great
D&D
idea.
has cool lore.
Mandalore from Wish. That's fucking funny. I mean, hey, I'll take Mandalore from Wish. That's an honor.
Yeah, so thank you everyone who donated, everyone who's watching, everyone just if you made it this far, if you liked it, and if you're subscribed, and even if you're not subscribed.
I'm not in prep anymore, so I can eat various things on stream now.
Eli's being fed.
Egg.
The egg can come back. The egg can come back. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna eat a live chicken next time. I think with obviously remember the question of the week was hashtag, was it reasons or reason? I think it's reasons.
Yeah. I had my reasons, kind of thing.
I had my reasons for uniting all of Terra for the fact of we could yell at one guy in particular in Wisconsin or something. Whatever you want, brothers. Make it funny if you can. And I think with that being said, we'll probably catch you guys next week, or we'll see you soon.
Heck yeah.
Cheers, brothers. Love you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.